I'm making this up as I go. Never done it before. Never ever even crocheted with this faux fur yarn before, but I gotta say right now, my first impression, I love it. Hi, Kathie here, Creating a Simpler Life, and I hope you follow along today as I design and crochet for the first time this faux fur crochet hat. So we have 6-month-old and we have adult. And if you stay tuned at the end of the video, I'll share the dimensions and you can go from there and create any hats that you desire. Today I'm going to use Bernat blanket yarn. This is in cranberry. This is a 6-ply yarn, so it's a very thick yarn. And I crochet it with a 9mm hook. This is equivalent to a letter M. This is absolutely the best hook. I'm going to make a separate video on that as to why, but I do have arthritis in my hands and this hook allows me to crochet for hours on end without pain. But this Bernat blanket yarn is nice and thick, easy to work with. This is a hat that I've made many times for many years, but I'm going to do it a little different today because I'm going to use, and I've never crocheted with this before, so this is the first time. It's called NICEEC, I don't know, NICEEC. It's a faux fur yarn and it's just so super soft. And what I'm going to try to do is crochet a brim around the hat and then make a faux fur pom-pom with this and see how that comes out. So I have my Bernat blanket yarn. I have 2, these come in a double pack from Amazon for about $15. I have my 9mm crochet hook. I have a little pair of scissors. I have a yarn needle. I'm not going to show you how I make the pom-pom in this video. I'll show that in a different video. So let's get started on the hat. I'm just going to move the camera and reposition myself so that you can have a better view. So I'm just going to make a loop, leave a nice tail hanging, and make a loop to start. And 12:45, Sunday, January 5th. And here we go. So we're going to crochet 18 chains. And we're going to skip 1 chain and single crochet 17 across. 17 across. Now I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and I'm only going to single crochet in the back loop. So you don't skip any. So here would be 2 chains. See, there's 2 that I just went through. 1, 2. We're only going in the back one, not the front one. And just doing a single crochet. In the back loop, single crochet. Back loop only, single crochet. And we're going to do 17 of those across, and we're going to do 28 rows. So this is row 2. We have 26 more rows to go after we finish this one. Chain 1, turn, row 3. I'm halfway through. This is 14 rows so far, and just a time check, it's 12:58. So I started at 12:45. I've been crocheting for 13 minutes and I'm halfway done. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28 rows completed. And the time is 1:09. So I started at 12:45. It is now 1:09. So I crocheted for about 25 minutes, less than half an hour. What you're going to do is you're going to take a nice long tail, about, I don't know, 1.5 to 2 feet long. Cut it off, cut with the scissors. And just pull it through. Okay, so in less than half an hour, I completed the upper part of the hat, and I just want to point out that the 2 ends are on opposite sides. That's an important part of how this hat is finished, because now what we're going to do is we're going to bring it across, fold it over, and our ends are on opposite sides. We're going to thread our yarn needle, and we're just going to do an overhand stitch all the way across to the other side. We're at the top. When I get to the top, what I like to do is just tie a nice knot to prevent that from being pulled too tight. So tie a nice knot. Okay, and now again, we're going to take what was on the yarn needle. I shouldn't have taken it off. And we are going to now go around this whole top and cinch it. Okay, this is going to pull it closed. So I just use the top of each big loop going around. It's like every 2 stitches. Just use the top of each big loop going around. It's every 2 rows basically. And you gotta start pulling it pretty tight. And I'm back where I started. So now I'm just gonna pull it very tight, very slow. I don't wanna rip the yarn. Pull nice and easy till it's cinched nice and tight and there's no room there. So now I have my 2 pieces, and again, to take the yarn needle off, I'm going to tie this nice and tight in a knot. And I'm gonna leave them because I'm gonna figure out now how to do the brim. Just a few things that I want to talk about. That rectangle size can be adjusted if you want this shorter, so you have a bigger brim. You could just decrease the number of chains. If you need a bigger, larger, wider hat, you can add rows in 2s. Always add rows in 2s. If you need a smaller hat, you could decrease the chains and decrease the number of rows. So that's the idea with this hat. That's what makes it so simple. You can adjust it to make it bigger or smaller depending on the person that you're making it for, or depending on how tightly or loosely you crochet, because everybody has a different way of crocheting. I happen to crochet very loosely. So just keep that in mind. So what I'm gonna do now is just show you the time again really quick. It is 1:15. I've literally been crocheting and finishing this hat in 30 minutes. I'm going to use this NICEEC fur yarn. I've never used it before. I'm gonna still use my 9mm crochet hook, and I'm gonna go around and create a fur border that's about 3 inches wide. So I'm gonna do a single crochet around the base, and then I'm gonna do 2 more rows after that for a total of 3 rows, I think. So we'll see how that comes out. I'm not gonna do a back loop stitch. I'm just gonna do a basic single crochet around. I'm gonna loop onto the yarn, just like I would with any other yarn. Okay, not so bad. A little slippery to work with, interesting. I'm gonna start it back on the back here and do a single crochet. I'm gonna try to incorporate the little tail that's hanging into my next single crochet because I'm not sure how that will weave. So I did, it's in the next one. And I'm just going around. So I'm thinking I should have 28 around. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far. 6. I'm crocheting very loosely. It's a very slippery material to work with. 28 exactly. All right, 28. I'm going to slip stitch into my first single crochet, and I'm going to chain 1 and just go around starting the next row. I'm not going to turn my work. I'm just gonna go into the next one and keep going around. Hard to find the stitch, so basically I'm just going between 2 stitches that I could visibly see. I think I want to keep this nice and loose because I don't want it to be too tight. I still want the hat to have a little bit of stretch so it doesn't prevent the brim from folding up and make the hat too tight on someone's head. Again, I'm making this up as I go. Never done it before. Never ever even crocheted with this faux fur yarn before, but I gotta say right now, my first impression, I love it. All right, that's my second time around. I think I'm gonna add an extra stitch just to keep it loose. It doesn't feel as stretchy. So I did 29 that time around. Slip stitching to connect. This will be my 3rd row, and based on what it is already, I really think I might need more than 3 rows. This is what I mean about how I make up my patterns. Sometimes it's a little hard to find your stitch now on this row because I don't have anything to judge by. It's basically by feel. If it doesn't go in, you're not in the right spot. But you can basically feel it, and you know where it should be about. Okay, guess what I did? I lost my spot. Somehow I passed. There it is. So this is where a marker would come in handy if you're somebody who uses markers. This is a really hard yarn to follow, and I normally don't do this, but I have to. So I'm just gonna make a marker right here. Just a little marker. I just pull a piece of yarn through. It'll come off later, so I know where my row ends. So I'm up to 4 rows. Still don't think it's enough, so I'm gonna add a 5th row. And I'm back around. And is that enough yet? I still think I want more. I don't want to see the red. I want it to be a little thicker. Maybe 2 rows. So that was 5. Chain 1. This is going to be row 6. I'm going to do one more. 7. Let's see what happens. And I'm back at my end. I'm going to trim, tighten it up, take this off. Don't need it. That looks beautiful. Perfect. It's exactly what I envisioned. So there's a little part of fabric on this. That's the part you want to push through the yarn hook so you can pull it through. There's like a little piece of fabric. You don't really see it when you crochet, but it's there. And I'm just gonna weave this in and out. And I'm just gonna pull it through and just cut that little end off. And fluff it up a little bit. There you go. It is currently 1:36. So I'm still under an hour for making that hat. And I have to say, I really like it so far. I'm really happy with it and how it turned out. That fur yarn is definitely fun. Yeah, this is definitely a little bit snug. So I'm going to suggest adding a couple of extra stitches. Instead of 28 stitches, I definitely would do 30 stitches around. Just add in 2 extra stitches on opposite sides, just to make it a little bit looser. Okay, so I'm going to make the pom-pom now. I'll be back. I'm gonna pull these 2 threads inside. I'm gonna pull the 2 from pom-pom inside. Turn my hat inside out. So I have pom-pom threads and the hat threads. And actually what I'm gonna do is literally just tie them together into a knot. And I'm gonna do it a couple of times. Oh, okay. And that's that. That's what happens when you pull a little too hard. Done. And I'm just gonna trim them off. Not even gonna bother. So what do you think? I love the way the hat came out. I think it actually looks really, really good. The pom-pom, this fur material, if you're making a pom-pom, it really does shed a lot. So just keep that in mind. If you're cutting a lot of ends, a lot of shedding, you might want to just buy a faux pom-pom, a faux fur pom-pom at the store instead of using that. But I love the way the fur comes out and looks on the hat. I think it comes out great. And I can see this hat in so many different colors and sizes. I think it would be beautiful, and I could just see a whole family wearing something like this for their Christmas card one year. This is for like about a 6-month-old baby. And then we have the adult. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.